Good day, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for this penultimate lecture of the Level 2 Cricket South Africa umpiring course hosted by Western Province Cricket Umpires Association. My name is Abdullah Steenkamp and my co-presenter for this evening will be Tom Mokarosi. The format of tonight's lecture will be as follows. I will kick off with Law 41. There's about 15, 16 subsections under Law 41. I'll go through all of them. After that, I'll let Tom face the rest of the over. He will then cover Law 42. He will also go through a few real-life scenarios. And then after that, we'll open the floor for Q&A. So firstly, Law 41, and what we are covering tonight is as per the laws of cricket. There are playing conditions for various competitions across the world that might slightly differ to the law when it comes to Law 41 and unfair play. So in those competitions, the umpires will apply the playing conditions. But we're going to cover tonight, what does the law say when it comes to unfair play? Firstly, when it's fair and unfair play, the law is clear. It is the captains, and the captains are responsible, and they need to make sure that play is conducted within the laws and within the spirit of cricket. It's not the umpire's responsibilities. A lot of players think it's the umpire's responsibility. It's not our responsibility. The captains, they are responsible. The first subsection that I'm covering under Law 41 is the match ball, and in particular changing the condition of the match ball. We will see throughout the subsections under Law 41, there will be some of these subsections that we will first have a word or first go give a first and final warning. There will be some subsections where we'll immediately go into action or immediately give punishment. When it comes to the match ball and changing the condition, let's have a look what the laws say and whether we go immediately into action or do we first have a word with the captain. Umpires, very important for them to make regular and frequent inspections of the ball. Don't be shy to ask the players for the ball for you to have a look. When a wicket falls, the umpires will take the ball, have a look at the ball, know how the ball is, know what the condition of the ball is. It is an offense for any player to do something to the ball that is going to change the condition of the ball. So what is a fielder allowed to do with the ball? Firstly, a fielder is allowed to polish the ball, provided that no artificial substance is used on the ball. The only thing that is allowed to be used on the ball is sweat. Only sweat is allowed to be used, and you can put sweat on the ball and then polish the ball on the clothing of the player, and that polishing should not waste any time. So that's the first thing that the player is allowed to do with the ball. Player can also remove mud from the ball. If they do want to remove mud from the ball, they need to do it under the supervision of either of the umpires. And lastly, if the ball is a bit wet, the law allows for that ball to be dried with a piece of cloth, but importantly, that piece of cloth needs to be approved by the umpires before the game. So these are the three things that the law allow a player to do. But players should not do anything that is going to change the condition of the ball. So what happens if the umpires consider that the condition of the ball has been unfairly changed. Very important, before you take this action, umpires needs to be 100% sure that the fielding side has tried to change or they consider that the condition of the ball has been unfairly changed. So let's have a look at the punishment. We go immediately into punishment. Firstly, we'll go to the opposing captain and ask the captain, Captain, do you want this ball to be changed? Or batters at the wicket may also deputize for their captain. If they do decide to have the ball placed, umpires, they need to choose a replacement ball. What criteria will they use to choose a replacement ball? They need to look at a ball that had similar wear and tear. That's the criteria that they need to use when selecting a replacement ball. Further action, 5 penalty runs to the opposing side. And you then need to inform everyone, fielding captain, batters, batting captain, and this incident will be reported to the governing body of cricket for that particular competition. So you can see we immediately go into action. It's a very serious offense, and I've discovered what the action is. Further, what happens if there is a further incident in this particular game where there was a changing of the condition of the match ball? What is the punishment? Again, we'll go ask the opposing captain, do you want the ball changed or not? And let's say the captain says, yes, I do want the ball to be changed. Again, it's the umpires. They will choose the replacement ball. And then the criteria they need to use is similar wear and tear to that of the previous ball immediately prior to the offense. Again, 5 penalty runs to the opposing side. Further punishment, we will call the captain of the fielding side and we will ask the captain of the fielding side to suspend the bowler who delivered the preceding ball. And then lastly, we need to inform again everyone, and this will again be reported to the governing body of cricket for that particular competition. So again, you can see it's fairly stiff punishment, which I agree with. But before taking this action, both umpires needs to be 100% sure. If there's any doubt, don't. Both umpires are 100% sure, then go into action. And again, I want to emphasize, we're covering how the laws of cricket handle if the match ball, of the condition of the match ball was changed. This is not playing conditions that we're covering. Yes, I know some playing conditions are slightly different, but this is as per the laws of cricket. The second subsection under law 41. So what happens if there was a deliberate attempt by the fielding side to distract the striker before the ball was delivered? What is the punishment? So again, the umpires, and they need to be 100% sure that any of the fielders, and the emphasis on deliberately attempt to distract the striker while the striker is preparing to receive or receiving the delivery. So if umpires, after getting together and they are satisfied that there's been a deliberate attempt to distract the striker, what is the punishment? We'll call and signal dead ball. We'll immediately go into punishment. 5 penalty runs to the batting side. Ball will not count as one for the over, and neither batter to be dismissed from this delivery. We need to inform everyone, like captain of the fielding side, batters, captain of the batting side, and we will report this to the governing body of cricket for that particular competition. So again, if there's deliberate attempt, we immediately go into action, which is 5 penalty runs, and inform and report. Third subsection under law 41 is, so what happens if there was a deliberate distraction, deception, or obstruction of either of the batters after the ball was delivered. So slight difference to point four. Point four was the batter is preparing to receive the ball, so the ball wasn't delivered yet. 41.5 is where the distraction, deception, or obstruction happened after the ball was delivered. And again, emphasis here is put on willful attempt, deliberate attempt by any of the fielders. And this willful attempt can be by word or action. And if this willful attempt was to either distract, obstruct, or deceive either batter, what is the punishment? We immediately go into punishment. No talking. We'll call and signal dead ball. Neither batter to be dismissed from this delivery. Even if a dismissal happens, like a run out or any type of dismissal, they won't be dismissed. Neither batter. 5 penalty runs to the batting side. Ball not to count as one for the over. There's more punishment. Runs completed to be scored. And if there was any penalty runs like a no ball wide, that will also count. And also, and this is the only place in the law book where you'll find this, where the run in progress, whether the batter has crossed or not, will also be scored. So only place in the law book where it's irrelevant whether the batter's crossed in the run that they're busy with or not. So whether they crossed, that run will also count. Whether they did not cross, that run that they're busy with will also count. Only place in the law book you'll find this. You can see quite harsh punishment for this deliberate attempt to distract, deceive, or obstruct either of the batter. And batters at the wicket, they will decide who faces the next delivery. Also the only place in the law book that you'll find this. Batters, they decide. So the umpires will practically go, batters, who of you wants to face the next ball? Whoever they can decide, and whatever decision they made, that batter will take strike for the next delivery. And lastly, you need to inform everyone. Captain of the fielding side, batters, captain of the batting side, everyone needs to be informed, and must report this to the governing body of cricket for that particular competition. Next subsection under Law 41 is the bowling of dangerous and unfair short pitch deliveries. Again, I want to highlight, we're covering what the laws of cricket say, how to deal with this. I know there are playing conditions that do differ, and we will, if the playing conditions do differ, we will apply the playing conditions for whatever competition we're playing in. So, what does the law say? So when it comes to bowling of short pitch delivery, and if the bowler in umpire considers that this bowler and the bowling of short pitch delivery is dangerous, and taking into account the skill of the striker, the speed, the length, the height, the direction, and the balls are likely to inflict physical injury on the batter. And if that is the case, so as soon as the umpires now decided, yes, this bowling of these short pitch balls has now become dangerous and it is likely to inflict physical injury on the batter, the umpire to call and signal no ball. Then, after calling and signaling no ball, you'll call the bowler and you'll tell the bowler, this is your first and final warning. And this warning to apply to you throughout this innings. You'll inform your colleague, you'll inform the captain of the fielding side and the batters of the first and final warning that you've given. So what happened if, again in the same innings, there's more deliveries by the same bowler, short pitch deliveries. What is the punishment now? You've already given a first and final. So now the bowler is not adhering to your first and final. The bowler is continuing. So now we'll again call and signal no ball. But now we'll call the captain of the fielding side and tell the captain of the fielding side, please suspend this bowler immediately from bowling. For spoke to you earlier, I've given the bowler first and final. The bowlers continue doing it. So now I need you to suspend this bowler. I'll inform the other umpire why. The bowler that was just now suspended will not be allowed to again bowl in this innings. I need to inform everyone again, captain of the fielding side, captain of the batting side, batters, and must report this incident to the governing body of cricket for this competition. Next subsection is how to deal with the bowling of dangerous and unfair non-pitching deliveries, uh, full tosses, beamers, whatever you want to call it. So how do we deal with it? Firstly, any delivery which either passes or would have passed on the full, i.e. without pitching, and it is above waist height of the striker standing upright at the popping crease. So that is your judgment point. You need to judge striker standing upright at the popping crease, not halfway down the pitch, not deep in the crease. Your judgment point is striker standing upright at the popping crease. So if any delivery, the ball is on the full, above waist height, striker standing upright at the popping crease, the law sees this is unfair. And you, the umpire, needs to intervene. How do you intervene? You need to call and signal no ball. The strikers in umpire is in the best position to call this, as the strikers in umpire has got a side on view, but either umpire can call it. But strikers in, you in the best position, own the score, make the score. So now we know the law sees this as unfair. The ball is above waist height of the striker standing upright at the popping crease. So umpires need to call and signal no ball. Again, importantly, I want to emphasize you need to judge it, striker standing upright at the popping crease. Lots of players think you'll often find batters double stepping or triple stepping, and they like a meter or two outside the crease, and the ball is, let's say, slightly above waist height, and the ball is busy dipping. Now the batters will say, umpire, it's above waist height. All you need to say is, batter, I need to judge it with you standing upright at the popping crease, not 2-3 meters down the pitch. That is where I need to judge it. And my judgment call was, if the ball would, let's say, yes, would have been above waist height um, at the popping crease, or it would not have been waist height. But the point I'm trying to make is, that's your judgment call. That is where you need to look. Striker standing upright at the popping crease. So now we know we need to call and signal no ball. Then, further, the law tells us we also now need to make the following call. If the bowlers in umpire, considers that this ball has now is a dangerous ball, and that the ball would have caused physical injury to the striker. The law further guides us by saying, please ignore any protective equipment. Take into account speed, height, direction of ball, skill of the striker, repeated nature of such deliveries. So now you need to take into account, was the ball dangerous or not? So firstly, you need, if it's above waist height of the striker standing upright at the popping crease, you need to call and signal no ball. Happy. Then further on, you also need to make a judgment call whether you think that ball is dangerous and was likely to inflict physical injury to the striker. And if, according to you, yes, this full toss was dangerous. You think it would have caused physical injury to the batter. You need to call no ball. And because it's dangerous, you need to give the bowler a first and final warning. You'll inform the other umpire what you've just did. Captain of the fielding side needs to be informed. Batters needs to also be informed. And this first and final warning to apply to this bowler throughout the innings. So just to recap, if it's above waist height, striker standing upright at the popping crease, you call and signal no ball. Then you also need to judge whether you think it's dangerous, whether that ball you think would have could have inflicted physical injury to the striker. And if that is the case, and if it's the first time in the innings, you'll go first and final. Should there, in the same innings, be again a ball above waist height, striker standing upright at the popping crease, and again, in your opinion, it was a dangerous delivery. Now, what you need to do, so the same bowler, after you've given him or her first and final, they again bowl one above waist height. Again, a dangerous one because it was likely to inflict physical injury to the striker. So now you'll call and signal no ball. Now you need to call the fielding captain over and tell the fielding captain, Captain, you need to suspend this bowler immediately from bowling. We've given him or her first and final earlier in this innings. Now second time, above waist height, dangerous ball, directed, dangerous ball. The ball was likely to inflict physical injury to the batter. Please now suspend the bowler from bowling. You'll inform your other umpire. So this bowler suspended for this innings. Bowler not allowed to bowl again in this innings. If this happened midway through the over and there's still balls to be bowled in the over needs to be completed by another bowler, and this bowler should not have bowled the previous over, nor is the bowler allowed to bowl the next over. And lastly, you again inform everyone, make sure everyone is aware of this, and you must report this to the governing body of cricket for that particular competition. Next subsection under law 41. So what happens if a bowler bowls a deliberate front foot no ball? And emphasis on deliberate front foot no ball. So it's you the umpire. You need to make the call whether you think that this bowler has deliberately bowled a front foot no ball. What is the punishment? So we'll call and signal no ball because the foot is way over. And because you think this was a deliberate front foot no ball, you'll call the captain of the fielding side or tell the captain of the fielding side, please suspend this bowler immediately from bowling. This front foot no ball was deliberate, so I'm asking you, please suspend this bowler immediately from bowling. I'll inform my colleague. This bowler will not be allowed to bowl further in this particular innings. If it was the first innings, will not be allowed to bowl further in that innings. If it was the second innings, will not be allowed to bowl further in the innings. And if this happened mid-over, still balls left, the over needs to be completed by another bowler, and this bowler should not have bowled the previous over, nor is the bowler allowed to bowl this the next over. You'll again inform everyone and report the incident to the governing body of cricket for that competition. Time wasting by the fielding side. So how do we deal with this? Firstly, the law guides us by telling us it is unfair for any fielder to waste time. Umpires, you get together, if you consider that the over is unnecessary slow or time is being wasted in any other way by the captain of the fielding side or any other fielder, At the first instance, what do you need to do? If the ball is in play, you'll call dead ball. You'll inform the other umpire of what has occurred. You'll then give the captain of the fielding side a first and final warning. So again, time wasting, unfair to waste time as per the law, but practically applying this, you need to the match situation will dictate when you apply this and when you don't apply it. Like let's say use an example. Let's say it's the first hour of our test match, day one, first hour. Do you think the fielding side would want to waste time? I don't think so. Yes, maybe they're a bit slow with the overrate. You can speak to them to hurry up the overrate, but the intent of trying to waste time, I don't think so. But compare it to another scenario where let's say it's day five of our test match and the batting side, let's say, needs 50 to win. We're in the last hour. There's lots of rain around. It's almost about to rain. Now you can see the match situation. Now tell us, yes, now the fielding side is not wasting time, speaking throughout the over, bowlers tying shoelaces forever. So now this match situation dictates fielding side now needs to waste time. So now this is now where you need to act. So practically, do take the match situation into account when applying this. So if we do see it the first time, we need to go first and final warning first. And then, if either umpire considers that there's been further waste of time in that innings by any fielder, now what is the punishment? Remember, we've already given a first and final. So now if there's further waste after giving the first and final, we two type of punishment now. If the waste of time was not during the over, emphasis on not during the over, we will now give 5 penalty runs to the batting side. And we'll inform the captain of the fielding side for the reason for this action. Tell the captain, I've given you, I spoke to you earlier, I've given you a first and final. You and your team are still deliberately wasting time, and seeing that this is not during and over, the punishment now is 5 penalty runs to the batting side. If the waste of time is during and over, what is the punishment then? Now we'll call the captain of the fielding side and tell the captain of the fielding side that because the time wasting is during the over, we need to suspend the bowler immediately from bowling. And that bowler will then now not allowed to bowl again in that particular innings. We'll inform everyone and report the incident to the governing body. Again, this is Law 41.9 as per the laws of cricket. Yes, I know that the playing conditions for many competitions across the world differs slightly to what the law say, but for the purpose of this course and for the exam, we're covering the laws of cricket, and you need to answer the questions in the exam as per the laws of cricket and not the playing conditions. So we've covered now what happens if the batter fielders waste time. What about the batters? Let's have a look. Again, also, the law sees it as unfair for batters to waste time. Usually, strikers should always be ready to face the delivery when the bowler is on top of his or her run-up. If either umpire feels that either batter's, wasting time, what is the action that we take? Firstly, we'll warn both batters and indicate this is your first and final warning. This is a team warning. It's not a batter's warning or not the opening pair's warning. It's a team warning. And this team warning to apply throughout the innings. And because it's a team warning, and let's say the opening batters, they were wasting time, each and every incoming batter, you need to inform them. If you've given a first and final, you need to inform them that batter, your team is on a first and final warning for wasting time. And then you need to inform everyone. Again, so what happens? In the same innings, there's further wasting of time by any of the batters. You've now given them a first and final for wasting time. So now there's more wasting thing of time by any of the batters. So what is the punishment now? 5 penalty runs to the fielding side. And again, we'll inform everyone, captain of the fielding side, batters, captain of the batting side, and we'll report this incident to the governing body of cricket for that particular competition. Again, when it comes to wasting of time, whether it's batters or fielders, take the match situation into account before applying this. If it's morning of day one, I don't think the batters would want to waste time. There would no reason. If they are slow, you can tell them, batters, you need to hurry up. But if this is day five, there's rain around, they're trying to survive. Now, the match situation now dictates, okay, they would want to waste time. So please take that into account and not just apply this, theoretically. Let's look at a video that's going to cover damaging of the pitch. And we're going to cover the fielders, the batters. We're going to cover the striker. We're also going to cover the bowler when it comes to damaging of the pitch. Let's start with the listening to the video. And then after the video, I'm going to go into detail the various role players. I'm going to go into detail fielders damaging, batters damaging, striker, as well as bowler.
Damaging the pitch. Deliberately damaging the pitch is illegal and can be costly to the guilty player's side. A bowler will be deemed to be causing deliberate damage if the umpire considers that his or her presence on the protected area of the pitch, shown here in red, is without reasonable cause. This can be after delivering the ball, or, if the bowler fails to release the ball, after the completion of the delivery swing and delivery stride. The first offence will receive a caution. The second, a final warning. And if the bowler does it again, he or she will be suspended from bowling for the rest of the innings and may well face disciplinary action after the match. For fielders and batsmen, it is the whole pitch that they must not damage, not just the protected area. If any fielder causes deliberate damage to the pitch, he or she will face a similar caution and be reported to the captain. If there is a repeat offence by any fielder during that innings, 5 runs are awarded to the batting side. Finally, if either batsman causes deliberate damage to the pitch, the batsman will be given a first and final warning and told this practice is unfair. This warning will apply through the innings and each incoming batsman will be warned. Should this happen again, the umpire will disallow all runs from that delivery, other than the penalty for a no ball or wide. Furthermore, the umpire will award 5 penalty runs to the fielding side, return the batsmen to their original ends, inform both captains, and the offending player may well face disciplinary action after the match. If you're in any doubt, refer to Law 41 in the Blue Book.
So before looking at the respective role players and what the punishment are when it comes to damaging the pitch, let's first go to the protected area. What is the protected area? And the protected area is the red-shaded area. And it's, as the words say, protected area. We as the umpires needs to make sure that we protect this area. So let's first focus on fielders damaging the pitch. So the law sees it as unfair if a fielder causes deliberate or avoidable damage to the pitch. Fielder will be deemed to be causing avoidable damage if the umpire considers that their presence on the pitch is without reasonable cause. So here the law allows the fielder to field the ball, to go in there if there is reason, but otherwise they are not allowed to cause deliberate damage to the pitch. So what happens if a fielder causes deliberate damage to the pitch? Umpire will call the captain of the fielding side and inform the captain that this is your first and final warning. This warning to apply throughout the innings. We will inform the batters of what has occurred. So first instance, we'll go first and final. And again, in that same innings, there's again an instance of any of the fielders causing deliberate damage to the pitch. What is the punishment? Now we'll go 5 penalty runs to the batting side. We need to inform everyone and report the incident to the governing body of cricket for that particular competition. So now we focus on the fielder and what the punishment are if they cause deliberate damage to the pitch. So how do we deal with a bowler running in the protected area? I've mentioned earlier, big part of our jobs as umpires is we need to protect that protected area. So what happens if the bowler runs into that protected area? So it is unfair for the bowler to go into that protected area if there's no reasonable cause. So yes, the law allows the bowler to go in there to field the ball. If the catch needs to be taken, no issue, bowler can go in there. If there's a reason to go in there, a cricketing reason to go in there, the law allows for it, absolutely no issue. But if there's no reasonable cause, the law sees it as unfair. Bowler is not allowed to go into the protected area, that red-shaded area that I showed you earlier. So let's see what the law tells us how to deal with it. If a bowler do go into the protected area without reasonable cause. If there's no reason, let's see how to deal with it. Firstly, you need to caution the bowler. You need to inform your colleague that you've given this bowler a caution. And this caution to apply to this bowler throughout the innings. Good umpiring technique is let the captain of the fielding side know as well, and the batters as well. So bowler was in the protected area, first time, you've cautioned the bowler. So what happens in the same innings, let's say it's the first innings of our test match, the same bowler again goes into the protected area and there was no cause or no reason why the bowler went in there. And it doesn't matter which end the bowler goes in, whether it's the bowler loves switching ends, whether it's you gave the bowler a first and a caution for going in the protected area. If the bowler is bowling from your colleagues in late in the innings and the bowler goes in there, you will then give the bowler a final warning. And this final warning to apply throughout the innings. So just to recap this slide, so if the bowler goes into the protected area without reasonable cause, first time the bowler goes in there, you'll give a caution. Second time, in the same innings, the bowler goes in there, you'll give a final warning. And this warning to apply throughout the innings. So now what happens? In the same innings, the same bowler again goes in there a third time. What is now the punishment? You'll call the captain of the fielding side over and inform the captain of the fielding side to suspend the bowler immediately from bowling. You're taking the bowler out of the attack. If it happens mid-over, the over needs to be completed by another bowler, and this bowler that's completing the over should not have bowled the previous over, nor is the bowler allowed to bowl the next over. You'll then inform everyone and report this to the governing body of cricket for that competition. So just to summarize again, how do you deal with bowler running into the protected area? First time it happens, you'll go caution. Second time in that same innings, you'll go final warning. And third time it happens, you now need to ask the captain of the fielding side to remove the bowler from the attack. So that is as per the law and how you need to handle it. But just a bit of practical advice. Earlier I mentioned about match situation, taking match situation into account. Similarly with this, do try to work with the bowler. Yes, do take the match situation into account. Like for example, let's say it's the first over of day one, first over of the test match, first ball of the test match. The bowler spikes is slightly in the protected area. Are you going to give the bowler a caution? So what I'm saying is, as per the law tells us if the bowler's in, you give a caution. But what I'm saying is, just practically try to work with the bowler, take the match situation into account. So in my scenario, first over of the test match, first ball of the test match, let's say the bowler goes in. Best way to handle this is speak to the bowler first. Tell bowler, that first delivery in your follow through, you ran into the protected area. Please, you need to stay out of the protected area. So initially, work with the bowler, speak to the bowler, tell the bowler, to stay out of the protected area. So start by, using, yeah, if I can call it, friendly warnings, unofficial warnings. First, speak to the bowler. Don't immediately, even though in the law you won't see anywhere it says speak to the bowler first, give a friendly warning, but take the match situation into account. Try to work with the bowler. First ball of the test match, don't don't give the bowler a caution. Just say, bowler, you need to stay out. Obviously, if the bowler keeps on going in there, then you need to do what you need to do. But do take the match situation into account. Also, if let's say this is on day 5 and the side's got, let's say, 3-4 spinners in it, now the opening bowler is bowling, let's say starting the innings, and in that first over the opening bowler runs straight down the middle. So now you'll be much more stricter than what you will be in the first over of our test match, because now with 3 or 4 spinners in the side, with that opening bowler running straight or running in the protected area, we know what is that opening bowler trying to do. They're trying to scuff up that protected area to bring the spinners into the game. So the point I'm trying to make is, practically the match situation will dictate how you handle this. So even though the law doesn't say take the match situation into account, give friendly warnings or speak to the bowler, but you do need to take the match situation into account before applying this. Initially try to work with the bowler, especially if it's early in the game. Speak to the bowler, but if if it's on day 5 and spinners in the side and bowlers running in, you'll be much more firmer in how you're going to deal with it compared to first over or first morning of our test match. So that is bowler running into the protected area. We've covered the fielder damaging the pitch. Now let's go to batter, or either of the batters damaging the pitch. Let's see what the law say. Firstly, unfair for either batter to cause deliberate or avoidable damage to the pitch. The law allows the striker to play at the ball, no issue. The striker is allowed to double step, no issue. But as soon as you've played your shot, you need to get off the pitch. So if you, the umpire, feels that the batter is causing avoidable damage to the pitch because you feel like the batter's presence on the pitch is there's no cricketing reason or reasonable cause why the batter is on there, what do? You warn both batters and that this practice is unfair and this is a first and final. Again, this is a team warning. So it will apply throughout the innings and you need to inform each incoming batter. So this is happening the first time. You need to inform captain of the fielding side, batters, your colleague. So what happens? Again in the same innings, either of the batters again causes avoidable damage to the pitch. What is now the punishment? You've already given a first and final. Now the punishment is disallow all runs to the batting side. Return any not out batter back to the original end. If there was a no ball or wide, signal it to the scorers. 5 penalty runs to the fielding side. Award any 5 other penalty runs except if the ball should hit the helmet that was placed behind the keeper. Inform everyone and report to the governing body. Again, practically how to deal with this. Let's say your first over of your test match and the bowler, the batters, runs, let's say straight down the middle. Have a word with the batters. Don't immediately go into action again. Nowhere in the law does it say speak to the batter, given friendly or unofficial warning. But do take the match situation into account. First over of the test match, batters running straight down, have a word. Don't go first and final warning. But compare that to day 5. The declaration is imminent. They've got spinners in their side. Now batters are running straight down the middle. Now you're going to be much more strict in handling batters damaging the pitch compared to the first morning or first over of your test match. So when it comes to the striker in the protected area, we've covered the bowler and how to deal with it. So firstly, the law tells us the striker to not stand so close to the protected area. And if they're going to play a shot, they're going to go into the protected area. So the striker not to stand so close to the protected area. So if they're going to play a forward defensive shot, ball after ball, they every time going to go into the protected area. The law say striker not to stand so close. Also, law allows the striker to make a mark on the pitch, but not unreasonably close to the protected area. So what happens if the striker do stand close to the protected area and then frequently goes into the protected area? What do? Give the striker first and final warning. This warning applies throughout the innings. Again, this is a team warning. So it's not a batter's warning, team warning. So throughout that innings, each incoming batter, you need to inform them. Inform the captain of the fielding side and the batters when practicable. So first and final warning, you go first up. So what happens again in that innings? Any batter goes into that protected area. The punishment now is disallow all runs to the batting side. Any not out batters, send them back. Return the batters back to their original ends. If there was a no ball or wide, they had to stand. 5 penalty runs to the fielding side. Any other 5 penalty runs? that's applicable, except penalty runs belonging to if the ball should hit the helmet placed behind the keeper. Inform everyone and report to the governing body. Again, we've covered what the laws say. If strikers close and goes in, you go first and final, and then after that, you go into punishment. Again, practically, manage this firstly. If you do see a batter standing close, have a word with the batter. Say, batter, you are standing close to the protected area, you need to go back. If the batter persists on standing there and goes in, now no issue. Now you can, go into punishment. But initially, try to work. A lot of players don't know the law. So if they do stand close, have a word. But if they persist, then apply the law. And then lastly, before handing over to Tom, so what happens if a batter, while the bowler is busy running in, tries to steal a run? The law sees this as unfair. While the bowler is running in, batters cannot try to steal a run. Not allowed. So what is the punishment? As soon as the batters crossed while trying to steal a run, you, the umpire, needs to intervene by calling and signaling dead ball. You need to send them back to their original ends. 5 penalty runs to the fielding side. And then lastly, inform everyone what just happened and why you did what you did, and then report this incident to the governing body of cricket for that particular competition. Tom, thank you so much. That's all that I'm covering under Law 41. I just took a single, and you can face the next ball. Over to you, Tom.
Thank you very much, Abdullah. A very busy innings there from your side. Lots of penalty runs and lots of warnings. I hope the candidates have learned a lot about unfair play in that particular session. So before I take the candidates through the Law 42, I'm going to check how well they've been listening to Abdullah. So we're going to have a few quiz questions halfway through today's lecture. So I'm just going to share my screen and then we'll get into the quiz questions for Law 41. And I'm going to finish with a quiz question for Law 42 before going into Law 42. So test your guys' pre-knowledge of the subject matter. So our first quiz question is related to Law 41.5. That's why the quiz question number is 41.5. And it's a pretty straightforward scenario. I will play it twice for you, both times without music. And I will describe as to what is happening. And you need to tell me, is the striker out-stumped, or was there a deliberate deception by the wicket keeper? And so we need to go straight to punishment, as Abdullah has taught us earlier in the lecture. Okay, so quiz question 41.5. You can already type 41.5 into the chat box, and then the rest of your answer after you've seen the scenario. Here goes. So the bowler bowls the ball down leg side. It is collected by the wicket keeper. The wicket keeper then turns around and pretends to look for the ball behind him. And of course, the ball is in his hand. As soon as he hears the striker starting to run, then he stumps out the striker. The striker has got his arms gesturing towards the striker's end umpire. And of course, he's claiming deception by the wicketkeeper. So I'll play it one more time and you can type your answer into the chat box. Quiz question 41.5. Is the striker out-stumped, or was this a deliberate deception by the wicketkeeper? And if so, what we all know the punishment. We will talk through it after the presentation. Next quiz question is 41.7. This is to do with the bowling of full pitched deliveries or non-pitching deliveries. Let's have a look at the video, and this is a pretty straightforward one. Is the striker out bowled, or is Shadab Khan lucky to escape with a no ball and a free hit in this scenario? Let's have a look.
Oh, bowled him. I wonder if it's a no ball. Well, we're going upstairs for this. We're going upstairs.
This is over the waistline. Yeah, and I think he's got a strong case.
Okay, pretty straightforward one there. Quiz question 41.7, out bowled, or quiz question 41.7, no ball. Please type your answer into the chat box now. We will go through all the answers after my Law 42 presentation. Now, this is a tricky one, and I saw somebody write into the chat box, how do we know if it is a deliberate no ball or if it is a unintentional no ball? So have a look at the picture and you decide, is this an unintentional front foot no ball? So I've got in inverted commas there, a normal no ball. Or are we going to consider this a deliberate front foot no ball? And we know that we treat the two very differently. So we need to ascertain, or we need to make up our minds. Are we considering this a unintentional front foot no ball, or are we considering this a deliberate front foot no ball? Please type into the chat box 41.8 normal or 41.8 deliberate. Okay. We'll go through all the answers at the end of the presentation. And Mohammed, we will come to your hand after we've gone through all the questions in the chat box. Now, we are moving on to Law 42. And Law 42, you will soon find out, is player conduct. So this happens, unfortunately, regularly in all levels of cricket. So let's see what happens and let us decide. Are we as umpires going to allow this to carry on? Nothing wrong. Or is this a breach of level 2 player conduct regulations? And we'll learn about level 1, 2, 3, and 4 player conduct regulations as per law in the next few slides. So let's watch this video first, and those of you who do know can give this a try. Those of you who don't know can also give this quiz question 42.2 an attempt. Okay, so this one comes from Prince in Nigeria. Thank you, Prince, for alerting me to this wonderful training video. I'm going to switch off that music and I'm going to play it again. And I'll talk you through it. Bowler bowls a delivery. Striker plays a forward defensive. It goes straight back to the bowler. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just rewind it to show you that at some point here, just before the bowler catches the ball, you can see that the striker is out of his crease. So are we allowing this throw, which is supposedly an attempt at a run out? Or are we saying this is dangerous and breaches level 2 player conduct regulations. So please type into the chat box 42.2, nothing wrong, or 42.2, level 2. Okay. Now let's go into Law 42, player conduct. And here we see Kumar Dharmasena laying down the law to, I think, an English bowler. So we're going to look at the 4 different levels of offenses, and we are going to look at, as per law, how are they to be dealt with. And please note, similar to Law 41, where Abdullah has mentioned on a number of occasions that playing conditions around the world differ for Law 41. Similarly, for Law 42, most competitions around the world have their own code of conducts, and those will supersede the laws of cricket player conduct regulations. So if you get to a tournament and there is no code of conduct, then you can use the laws of cricket's Law 42 player conduct regulations. And if you were to do so, this is what they look like, and this is how we as umpires would apply those regulations. So level 1 are what we will call minor offenses, and the law lists these type of offenses as level 1. Willfully mistreating any part of the cricket ground, equipment, or implements used in the match. Batters, especially when they feel hard done by, maybe they got a decision from the umpire that they don't agree with. Sometimes when they walk off the field, they will use their bat to hit the dugout of the team that they are playing for. That is not allowed. Willfully mistreating any part of the cricket ground, equipment, or implements used in the match is a level 1 offense. Showing dissent at an umpire's decision by word or by action is also considered a level 1 offense. Quite often, again, if a player gets what he or she feels is an unjust decision by the umpire, if perhaps the striker thought they had got an inside edge and the umpire gave him or her out LBW, of course, we shouldn't be giving players out LBW if the ball hit the bat first before it hit the pad. But what I'm seeing commonly around the world is batters are going to raise their bat and show it to the umpire to dispute the decision for being given out LBW. That is considered dissent and is a level 1 offense according to the laws of cricket. If players use language that in circumstances is obscene, offensive, or insulting, that is also a level 1 offense. And just in practice, we do allow players to vent their frustrations and to swear under their breath. It is an emotional game. It is sometimes the heat of the moment does get the better of players. But what we do not allow as umpires is we do not allow swearing directed at opposition players. And we do not allow a player, especially bowlers, when they've been hit for 6 or bowled a number of wides in an overs consecutively, for them to vent their frustration so loud that their swear word or swear words can be heard outside of the ground. We don't allow that. That would be a level 1 offense. Making an obscene gesture, I think we all know what a zap sign looks like. that is a level 1 offense, also not allowed, especially if directed at opposition players or an umpire. Appealing excessively is not allowed as per law, and it is something that us as umpires need to make the players aware of. Far too often we allow players to overly appeal. Even when we've said not out, they continue appealing. That, as we can see, is a level 1 offense. And good umpiring practice there is, if the bowlers and umpires under pressure from the bowler repeatedly in the same over for LBW appeals, caught behind appeals, also all sorts of frivolous appeals. If they are good appeals, then yes, we'll allow them to appeal. But if we say not out, then they should stop appealing. So because the bowlers and umpire would be under pressure from the bowler and indeed the rest of the fielding side, the best person to diffuse the situation is the striker's end umpire. He or she should come from his or her position at square leg and walk to the middle where the bowler is, where maybe some of the fielders have encroached to try and intimidate the striker. And that is a good bit of teamwork if that striker's end umpire says, enough now, one appeal is sufficient and it has been answered. It's not out. Let's move on. And you can say that any more excessive appealing will be dealt with by a level 1 report. Advancing towards an umpire in an aggressive manner when appealing, that is also a level 1 offense. So charging, and this is not just for the bowler, this also applies to the fielders, especially wicket keepers standing up to the stumps. When they feel that a decision is out, they like to charge down the wicket towards the umpire. You can see here that the law does not allow for this aggressive manner. Level 1 offense. Any other misconduct, the nature of which, in the opinion of the umpires, is equivalent to the offenses above, will be considered a level 1 offense. So obviously we cannot cover every single eventuality in terms of player behavior. So we just need to gauge the seriousness of the offense. If it is similar to these listed above, then it shall also be considered a level 1 offense. So what happens if any player commits a level 1 offense? Umpires will need to intervene. According to law, the umpire shall call time if it is the first offense. Together, the umpires shall summon and inform the offending player's captain that an offense at this level has occurred. So, captain, your player has committed a level 1 offense. If the level 1 offense is the first occurrence at any level by that team, the umpire shall issue a first and final warning which shall apply to all members of the team for the remainder of the match, not just the innings. This is a team warning for the remainder of the match. So if there's been excessive appealing from a particular bowler, that bowler will earn his team a first and final warning. And it applies for all level 1 offenses. Okay, so a repeat or any other level 1 offense, we're not going to keep warning them for different level 1 offenses. We will see now what the law tells us to do if there is another level 1 offense committed in the same match. We warn the offending player's captain that any further level 1 offense by any member of his or her team shall result in the award of 5 penalty runs to the opposing team. Okay, so all team players after this first and final warning are now skating on thin ice. That is how strict the law wants us to be on player behavior. So that was level 1. Let's look at level 2 offenses. If any player shows serious dissent at an umpire's decision by word or by action, that will be considered a level 2 offense. And you need to decide as 2 umpires if what is a minor bit of dissent and what is considered a serious bit of dissent. That you need to discuss maybe before the game, or if you have an instant of dissent, then you can come together straight after it's happened, discuss how you feel, whether it is a level 1, a normal dissent, or level 2, serious dissent. If a player makes inappropriate and deliberate physical contact with another player, that is a level 2 offense. And we will see later in the level 3 and level 4 offenses that physical contact is not to be taken lightly. This, we would say, is maybe just a small little shoulder tap against an opposition player. But if we are talking a full-on shoulder charge, then we're looking at worse than level 2. Now, here is the answer to our last quiz question. Quiz question 42.2. It could be the answer or it could be part of the answer. So if a player throws the ball at another player, an umpire, or another person in an inappropriate and dangerous manner, it is a level 2 offense. So now we need to consider that throw by that bowler at that striker. Was it inappropriate? Maybe you could say it was appropriate because the striker was out of his crease for a split second. The law says it needs to be inappropriate and dangerous. So was it inappropriate? Was it dangerous? That is the decision that you need to make together with your partner. Because the different views that you have of the same scenario could give you different opinions. They hopefully are similar opinions, and that way your decision would be easier, whether it's a level 2 offense or you allow play to continue. If a player uses language or gestures to another player, umpire, or a team official or spectator, that in the circumstances is obscene or of a serious insulting nature, that will be considered a level 2 offense. Okay, as mentioned, we all know what a zap sign is and what it means, and it's important culturally and diversically that we know different types of sign languages, because we can't allow one team to get away with some gestures just because we don't know what those gestures mean, whereas the opposing side will be offended. So we need to be culturally aware whenever we umpire matches. It's difficult if you don't know the language that has been spoken by one or both of the teams, but certainly you can often gauge just by the body language of players whether something untoward has happened or if it was just friendly banter. Again, we cannot catch all behavior in the laws. So where there is other misconduct, the nature of which is, in the opinion of the umpires, equivalent to any of the offenses listed on here for level 2, then that offense will also be considered a level 2 offense. So what happens if there is a level 2 offense committed? No warning this time around. We shall call time. We're simply calling time because we want play to stop and we want to make a scene out of what has happened, and we want to enforce the law strictly and with authority. Together, the umpires shall summon and inform the offending player's captain that a level 2 offense has occurred, and we go straight to punishment, and we award 5 penalty runs to the opposing side. We know 5 penalty runs to the batting side, we tap our shoulder. 5 penalty runs to the fielding side, we hold our opposite shoulder. The umpire shall warn the offending player's captain that any future level 1 offense by any member of his or her team shall result in the award of 5 penalty runs to the opposing team. So if you've committed a level 2 offense and then you go on to commit a level 1 offense, you're not going to get a warning for the level 1 offense because you've already committed a level 2 offense. Then a level 1 offense will immediately be punished by 5 penalty runs awarded to the opposing side as well. Moving on to level 3 offenses, what do those look like? Intimidating of an umpire by language or gesture. So now it is not just an unfriendly piece of language or gesture, it is intimidatory gesture or language directed at an umpire is a level 3 offense. Threatening to assault a player or any other person except an umpire is a level 3 offense. And if such an offense is committed, the following shall apply. The umpires shall summon and inform the offending player's captain that a level 3 offense has been made, and the punishment for a level 3 offense is that the umpires shall direct the captain to remove the offending player immediately from the field of play for a period of, in a match where the innings are not limited to a number of overs, the player shall be suspended from the field of play for 10 overs. So if your team is fielding in a more-day cricket match with unlimited overs in an innings, then if one of your players commits a level 3 offense, they will be dismissed from the field for 10 overs. Okay? And this applies to batters or to fielders or bowlers, of course. If we are playing a limited overs match, then that player who has committed a level 3 offense will be dismissed from the field for 1/5 of the number of overs allocated to the current innings in its commencement. So if we're playing a T20 match, then that player will be suspended from the field of play for 4 overs, because 4 overs is 1/5 of a T20 innings. If we're playing a 50 over per side match and a level 3 offense is committed, then that player will be suspended from the field of play for 10 overs, because 10 overs is 1/5 of 50 overs. If we're playing a T10 match, then that player will be suspended for 2 overs, because 2 overs is 1/5 of 10 overs. Okay, so this might be new to a lot of people. In cricket, we don't use yellow cards, we don't use red cards, but this would be the equivalent of a yellow card in a rugby match. A temporary suspension of a player for a set amount of time off the field, and obviously no substitute is allowed to take the place of that suspended player. Now, let's look at level 4 offenses, which are the highest level of offenses that players can commit. Threatening to assault an umpire is considered a level 4 assault, a level 4 offense. So if a batter runs up to an umpire and says, I am going to physically hit you with my bat because of the decision that you made, that is threatening to assault an umpire. That is a level 4 offense, and we shall find out soon what the punishment is for a player committing a level 4 offense. If any player makes an inappropriate and deliberate physical contact with an umpire, that will be a level 4 offense. Okay? Any physical contact which is deliberate and inappropriate against an umpire will be punished by a level 4 offense, and we will see what that punishment is shortly. Physically assaulting a player or any other person will also be considered a level 4 offense. Committing any other act of violence is considered a level 4 offense. So what is the punishment for a level 4 offense? Together, the umpires shall summon and inform the offending player's captain that an offense of level 4 has occurred, and the umpires shall instruct the captain to remove the offending player immediately from the field of play for the remainder of the match. That means they will not take any further part in that particular match. If the offending player is a fielder, no substitute shall be allowed for him or her. He or she is to be recorded as retired out at the commencement of any subsequent innings in which his or her team is batting. Okay, so you cannot field for the rest of the match, you cannot bat for the rest of the match, and if your team hasn't batted yet, by the time your turn comes to bat, you will not be allowed to bat. You will be recorded as retired out in that particular match. Now, what happens if a captain refuses to remove a player as instructed by the umpires for a level 3 offense or a level 4 offense? Very serious offense by the captain. The umpires shall take that refusal from the captain to remove the player who has committed a level 3 or level 4 offense. They shall take it as the team refusing to play, and as such will award the match to the opposing side. So very, very strict measures to be taken by the umpires. In the very unlikely situation that both captains refuse to carry out instructions to remove their players from the field of play in respect of the same incident, so if one player from each opposing side was involved in a fight and both those players were deemed to have committed level 4 offenses, and we want to ask both captains to remove those players. If both captains refuse to remove their players, the match shall be regarded as not concluded and there shall be no result. So there will be no winner for that particular match and it will end immediately. Okay, so really we don't want to get to that point in a match. As umpires, we need to manage player behavior. We need to obviously make our decisions to the best of our ability because quite often player behavior does deteriorate based on poor umpiring decisions. Having said that, there's no excuse for poor player behavior that would result in a level 3 or level 4. So if there are level 3 or level 4 offenses that are committed by players, we need to, if we don't have a code of conduct that tells us otherwise, we need to implement this law strictly and make sure that if we need to award a match because a player is refusing to leave the field or the captain is refusing to remove a player from the field, then we need to go to the extreme of awarding the match to the opposing side. Ladies and gents, that is all the content that we are presenting to you in terms of the laws of cricket. Next lecture will be on Thursday, and Abdullah will take us through revision slides, and I will take you all through the click-by-click demonstration of how the online level 2 exam works. So in terms of the laws from law 1 to law 42, we've covered all of them. And this we've actually done for the very first time in all of our 5 years of online umpire courses. So I hope you've enjoyed the journey through the laws of cricket. So let's have a look before we go into the revision questions or the quiz questions. Let's have a look at what the rest of our course looks like. Today we went through law 41 and 42. On Thursday, as I mentioned, it is the 18th of September, not the 15th. Please excuse that typo. Same time as today's lecture, same time as all the lectures. We will be going through revision and we will go through an online exam demonstration. It's very different to the level 1 exam, so please don't assume that it's the same as the level 1 exam. No, we're using a different website. It's not true or false. It's not multiple choice. It's descriptive questions that need long answers, 2 to 5 mark answers, so you cannot just write one word answers. The lectures have all been free and always will be, but there are exam fees payable for those of you who want to write Cricket South Africa's level 2 exam. The payment deadline for the exam is on Thursday, the 25th of September, 6 p.m. South African time. The exam fee, for those of you who still don't know, 350 rands for anyone in South Africa, $35 for anyone outside of South Africa. The payment details are on the reminder emails that I sent before every lecture. And if you do not have a PayPal account or you do not know anyone with a PayPal account that can pay on your behalf the $35, then you can reply to any one of those emails asking me for a bank account that will receive international wire transfers. So that will be a second option for foreign candidates to pay their exam fees. Very important, when you pay exam fees, please send your proof of payment to training@wpcua.co.za. If you're paying for more than one person, then you need to send me the email addresses and the names and surnames of all the people that you're paying for. We will use all of that detail to register you for the online exam. So when will the exams be? Initially, we had scheduled the first exam date option to be on Saturday, the 27th of September at 9 a.m. South African time. However, Abdullah and I will both be involved in our first 4-day matches of the season. They are starting on Thursday, the 25th of September. So we will not be available to have Saturday, the 27th of September as a exam date option. So we're moving that first exam date option forward to Wednesday, the 24th of September at 2 p.m. South African time. Seems like a strange time in the middle of the week to have an exam. Those of you who don't know, Wednesday, the 24th of September will be a public holiday in South Africa. It's our Human Rights Day. And sorry, it's not our Human Rights Day, it's our Heritage Day in South Africa. So that is the only non-working day in South Africa we can find suitable for the exam. So that is the date and time we've gone for our first exam date option. The second exam date option is Monday, the 29th of September, which was always the second exam date option, and the time remains the same, 6 p.m. until 8 p.m. South African time. So when you send your proof of payment to training@wpcua.co.za, you need to send your name, your surname, as you want them written on your certificate, and you also need to tell us which exam option you are going to be taking. Are you going to be writing the exam on Wednesday, the 24th of September, or are you going to be writing it on Monday, the 29th of September? Please do not forget to mention that. As you can see, the exam fees closing date or deadline still remains Thursday, the 25th of September. So some of you might write on Wednesday before paying your exam fee. If you are waiting for payday on Thursday, the 25th of September, that's fine. You can pay on Thursday, but still write on Wednesday. Please note, we will not mark your exam if you have not paid your exam fee. So ideally, if you can, pay before your exam date. But if you're waiting for payday on the 25th of September, then you can write on Wednesday without having paid the exam date, but you need to pay by Thursday. So that is everyone that will be writing the exam. And even though it says online exam option 1, online exam option 2, the dates are the same for those of you who will be writing in Cape Town. Western Province Cricket Umpires Association members need to write their exam physically in Cape Town, handwritten, not online. So what is important there is Newlands Cricket Ground is currently under construction. There's huge renovations happening at the moment, getting ready for SA20 starting on the 26th of December. So there are no meeting rooms available for us to use for the exam. I am busy chatting to a few cricket clubs in Cape Town who will hopefully be able to host us for our 2 exam dates. So the exam dates stay the same, Wednesday 24th of September 2 p.m. or Monday 29th of September 6 p.m. Venues will be confirmed for those writing in Cape Town as soon as we have finalized them. Very importantly, if you are a member of any umpires association in South Africa, you need to write at your home association. So if you belong to Boland Umpires Association, then you need to write at Boland Park and you need to get into contact with the head of training of Boland Cricket Umpires Association or the training coordinator and find out when they are hosting level 2 exams. Okay, these dates that you see in front of you are just specifically for Western Province Cricket Umpires Association. Other associations will set their own dates and their own venues for their level 2 exams. So yes, you are welcome to watch all our lectures and participate in our lectures, but members of other umpires associations cannot write with WPCUA. We made that clear for level 3 earlier in the year, and that rule remains for the foreseeable future. So members of umpires associations in South Africa will not write the Cricket South Africa level 2 exam online. They will write it at their home association physically on pen and paper. Those of you outside of South Africa will all be writing the online exam using our proctored website, exam.hostexam.net. And as mentioned, I will be going through a click-by-click demonstration on Thursday as to how that website works. So please join us for that Thursday lecture to see exactly what you need to do when the exam link emails are sent to you. The Cricket South Africa Level 2 exam total is 100 marks with 2 to 5 mark questions, and the pass mark is 80%. It is a closed book exam. You cannot have your law book, you cannot have the presentation, you cannot have any material that will help you. It's you, your pen, and your brain that will get you through the exam. Of course, that's if you're writing. If you're typing, then it's your fingers which will do the typing for you online. We will commit to having the exams marked by Monday, the 13th of October, which is exactly 2 weeks from the second exam date option. And your certificates, for those of you who pass, will be distributed latest 2 weeks after you receive your results. That line, certificates will be forwarded to passers within 24 hours of them passing. Unfortunately, that's not the case. That is the case for level 1. Apologies, this slide was updated from a level 1 presentation, so I forgot to remove that line. Level 3, for those of you who pass, will start in November or December. Abdullah and I are yet to receive our appointments for umpiring in November and December. So once we have those, then we will schedule the level 3 course around our umpiring appointments. And level 3 will either start in late November or early December. And of course, all level 2 passers will be emailed the details of the level 3 course a week before the first lecture. So you don't need to keep asking me. You don't need to figure out what you need to do for registration. If you pass level 2, you are automatically registered for level 3. If you don't want to do it this time around, you can just reply to the email a week before the first lecture saying, Tom, please take me off the mailing list. I will not be doing level 3 now. I'll be doing it later. Okay, so those are the course logistics that remain, and the exam we will look into further detail on next week, on Thursday in our final lecture. So now let's go back to our quiz questions, and I'm just going to unshare and then reshare when I'm on the first quiz question, and then I'll talk you all through the quiz questions. So the first quiz question that we had was titled Very Cheeky, rightfully so. And I'm gonna play it with music first because the music is quite cheeky. It actually suits exactly what has happened. So I'll play it again without the music and I'll talk you through it. Bowler bowls a ball down leg. Wicketkeeper collects it, pretends he has not collected it, turns around, looks for the ball. And when he hears the batter trying to take a single, he whips the bails off and appeals for a stumping. By the celebrations, it looks like the strikers and umpire gave the striker out stumped. Was that the correct decision? What did you all put into the chat box? Abdullah took us through law 41.5 earlier. It is the deliberate distraction, deception, or obstruction of either batter after the ball has been bowled. It is considered unfair, and law tells us that neither batter will be out if we decide that either batter has been deceived, distracted, or obstructed by a member of the fielding side. And so we need to decide, was that deliberate deception or was that just very clever from the wicketkeeper and maybe not so clever from the striker? I believe that the striker was deceived by the wicketkeeper deliberately turning his back and making it look as if he was looking for the ball. Of course, the wicketkeeper knew all along that he had the ball in his hand, and he waited to hear the striker starting a run and then stumped him. So a clear example of deliberate deception by the wicketkeeper. Neither batter shall be out of the delivery. The bowling side, the batting side will be awarded 5 penalty runs. The run in progress, even though they have not crossed, will count. And the batters at the crease will decide who faces the next delivery. And we shall inform everybody and report the matter to the governing body in charge of this particular match or tournament. So definitely not out. Deliberate deception by the wicketkeeper. 5 penalty runs awarded to the batting side. Okay. It did look clever by the wicketkeeper, but the law is specifically here for these type of actions, and we can see that it is not allowed. Quiz question 41.7. This one is pretty straightforward. I'll play it once with the volume off and I'll talk you through it. Ngilungi bowls a full toss that is directed at the striker. Shadab Khan tries to play a late cut and plays it into his stumps, and the replay clearly shows that the ball at the popping crease was above the waist height of the striker standing upright at the popping crease. Now, a lot of people will wonder or ask, why did strikers and umpire Adrian Holstock not call and signal no ball? And a lot of people also ask why he is standing a good 2 meters in front of the popping crease. So the reason he's standing 2 meters in front of the popping crease, up here we see a run-out camera. If Adrian Holstock were to stand in line with the popping crease as we do for non-televised game, he would block the view of the run-out camera. The run-out camera would not be able to see the popping crease. So that is why in televised matches, you will always see strikers and umpires standing either in front of the popping crease or behind the line of the stumps, behind the bowling crease. Okay, why did Adrian Hostock not call and signal no ball? Again, in televised matches, we are instructed by the playing conditions of International Cricket Council not to call tight full toss no balls, because if you call it and it happens to be below waist height, you cannot revoke a no ball call. Whereas if you don't call it and a wicket results, then you can review it. The TV umpire will have a look and will then inform the on-field umpires to call and signal no ball, which is what happened in this case. And Sharab Khan was not out. And because that full toss was directed at the striker, it was likely to cause injury. Lungin Gidi should have been issued with a first and final warning for a no ball full toss above waist height directed at the striker, likely to cause injury, as per the law that Abdullah described to us earlier. A playing condition in limited overs cricket around the world, after every no ball is a free hit that would be signaled by the bowlers and umpire. That is not in law. That is a playing condition for limited overs cricket around the world. So pretty straightforward, this one. Definitely. Quiz question 41.7, no ball. Quiz question 41.8. Is this an unintentional front foot no ball, or is this a deliberate front foot no ball? So if you look at the size of the bowler's boot, I would say he's probably 2.5 feet, if not 3 feet over the popping crease. And this was a test match between the West Indies and Australia, and test match bowlers would not be bowling no balls this big unintentionally. If this was a 16-year-old who doesn't know his or her run-up well and is still sort of going through growing pains, you could maybe excuse it, but at test match level, this far over has to be deliberate. Again, like Abdullah mentioned earlier, the state of play would guide you and give you clues as to whether a front foot no ball is deliberate or not. There was definitely some argy-bargy, some needle, maybe words exchanged before this delivery between the bowler and the striker. If you look at the trajectory of the ball is almost off the screen here. This is probably going to be a beamer by the looks of it. So for me, this bowler is upset with the striker for whatever reason. Something happened earlier in the game, probably in that over, and this bowler wanted to hurt the batter. So this, for me, by the distance and also just judging by the flight of that delivery, this is most definitely a deliberate front foot no ball. So what's the punishment for a deliberate front foot no ball? You call and signal no ball, and you instruct the captain of the fielding side to remove this bowler immediately from the attack, and they will be suspended from bowling for the rest of the innings, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so again, very harsh punishment, but why? It's because this is a deliberate front foot no ball. We will inform everybody and we will report the incident. If it wasn't the end of the over, well, it can't be because it was a no ball. This bowler will be replaced by another bowler who should not have bowled any part of the previous over and cannot bowl any part of the next over. Last quiz question of the evening, again, is a judgment call. I'll play it without sound and I'll talk you through it. If this striker had not at any point left his crease, then this would be a clear-cut case of a breach of level 2 player conduct regulation, throwing the ball aggressively at another player. Of course, if a striker is out of his or her ground, the bowler is allowed to attempt to run the striker out. And so this could be the little bit of leniency or little bit of what's the term they use in court when you let a player off because of the striker being outside of the popping crease. But you've got to look at the throw and you've got to wonder, is this bowler aiming at the stumps or is this bowler aiming at the batter? Because this looks like a professional game of cricket, and a professional bowler who also fields and has fielding practice every day cannot be throwing the ball so far from the stumps when they are aiming at the stumps. So for that reason, it's so high and it's about half a meter wide of the stumps. The throw is so misplaced. It's so far away from the stumps and so directly at the striker that I would have a chat with my partner, and my opinion to my partner would be this is a reportable offense, level 2, bowler throwing the ball at the striker. Your partner might have a differing opinion and saying, no, the bowler was trying to run the striker out. Yes, the striker left his crease momentarily. So the bowler had good reason to throw at the stumps. But for me, throwing the ball so badly away from the stumps and directly at the striker, we cannot let this go by. What does the game expect of us? The game expects us to report this bowler, I believe. We might have differing opinions. Abdullah maybe can share his later, but for me, I would definitely be reporting this bowler. And Abdullah, it is the end of my presentation, and I've gone through all the quiz questions. I think before we get into the chat box for the Q&A session, if you can please give us your opinion on that last quiz question. Would you let that slide or would you be reporting that bowler?
Yes, Tom, different view to you. I will let it slide only for the reason the batter was outside his crease momentarily. It's a quick thing. Bowler is 10-15 meters from the batter. He grabbed at the ball, threw it back quickly. No time to aim, no time to think. He just knew he need to get it back, down the wicket to try to run out the bowler. For me, difficult to prove uh, intent there to was to throw at the batter. Let's say try to hurt the batter. Just based on that evidence, yeah, I wouldn't code. Maybe if there was a bit of verbals before
Mm,
leading up to this, maybe different outcome, but just based on that info, and for me, crucially, the batter was outside the crease. Yes, it was a little bit, but still outside the crease, and that gives the bowler, uh, um, um, reason to have a side to try to run out the batter.
mm,
Yeah, it is subjective because you can have see both of us looking at the same clip have different
mm,
opinion, and I'm sure in the chat group there's probably also difference of opinions, but it is subjective. That's why it's important. You need to discuss this. If you have footage like this, which was great, you can look at the footage, afterwards, get different, angles, different viewpoints, and then come to a decision. Over,
mm.
Tom.
Thanks, Dula. Incidentally, in England, they have a playing condition that if any throw hits a batter, then that um, player, bowler or fielder will be coded, regardless of whether it was intentional or not. They just don't want balls being thrown at players. So that actually makes life a lot easier for umpires because then we're not having to judge intent. But as per law, we need to judge intent, and also as per ICC playing conditions, we need to judge intent. So yes, we will have differences in opinion, um, but you need to come to a consensus as the two on-field umpires if you're going to report a player or not. Right, so let's have a look at what has been posted in the chat box while we've been presenting. Mohammed Tuki asked, how do we judge if it is a deliberate front foot no ball or if it's unintentional? And Mohammed, I did take you through my thought process, and I hope that answered your question. The match scenario will dictate that bowler's actions. I can guarantee you, you will not have a deliberate front foot no ball the first ball of a match. Definitely something would have had to have led to that bowler being upset at that striker for him or her to bowl from a meter past the popping crease and potentially a beamer as well. Mohammed also asks, what is the logic behind while the waste of time during the over by a fielder is punished by the bowler being suspended? Abdullah, any ideas why the law punishes the bowler when the time wasting was by a fielder during an over?
Yeah. No, Tom. This law has been in place since the 1800s. So I'm not sure, in the discussions that they had at the time, they were discussing, okay, what punishments can we go? So we're discussing the various punishments. And at the time, that committee probably felt removing the bowler from the attack, if it's during the over, you you know you are taking a bowler or removing a bowler from the attack. So the fielding side is now a bowler less. So
Mm,
they felt, okay, if it's a bowler less, it would put strain on the rest of the team, the rest on the bowling lineup. I'm just thinking now out loud. I'm not sure why they went this, but they were discussing what punishment can we go. So I'm thinking that's maybe the thinking, behind it. I could be wrong, but yeah, I don't know. It's been there since the 1800s, so.
mm. Yeah, Abdullah, I think you mentioned while you were presenting that the bowler could take 2 minutes to tie his or her shoelaces. So it could also be time wasting by the bowler during that bowler's over. But yeah, I suppose they just decided that if it's during an over, you are still punishing the entire team, like you said, because it's going to disadvantage the entire team for one less bowler to be allowed to bowl. So answer to 41.5, it looks like you have all judged it as deliberate deception by the wicketkeeper. Well done. And answer to 41.7, that full toss by Lungi Ngidi was definitely a no ball. Mohammed Tuki asks, or he was just giving the punishment for deliberate deception. Well done, Mohammed. Yeah. Oh, so Rifat has given the striker out bowled for Lungi Ngidi's full toss. Rifat has already got his hand up. He's always got a few controversial and interesting scenarios to discuss with us. So Rifat, we will hold until the end of the questions in the chat box. But please, I would like your opinion on that Lungi Ngidi delivery as to why you are giving him an illegal wicket according to the laws of cricket. Law 41.8, Ansh thinks that's a deliberate front foot no ball. I agree with you, Ansh. And Nagendra also agrees with you. So does Sundaresh. And Rifat has given Shadab Khan out again, out bowled Abdullah. Not just once, twice. When he saw it on the replay, he still gave it out twice. Okay, so Dieter has an interesting view on that no ball. He says if it's the first instant that you cannot say it's deliberate. And again, Dieter, we did mention that what has been happening in that match will guide you and will tell you if it was a deliberate front foot no ball or if it was unintentional. So yeah, it's not clear and obvious when you see one still picture. You don't have the context of the match. But I believe in that context of that match that it definitely was a deliberate front foot no ball. Okay, so let's get to the contentious one, Abdullah, where you and I disagree. Sundaresh says nothing wrong. Ansh says nothing wrong. And sorry, Prince, you're from Ghana, not from Nigeria. You're not giving us your opinion, though. Nothing wrong, nothing wrong. Oh, so I'm the only one who feels that. Okay, Kota also thinks it's a level 2 breach. Dieter says nothing wrong. And T says level 2. So differing opinions. Mainly nothing wrong because the striker did leave his crease for a split second. Fair enough. Ansh says many cricketers hit the boundary cushions. Is that willfully mistreating any part of the cricket ground and equipment? Is that allowed, Abdullah, or should we be coding those batters who hit a full toss straight up in the air and get caught at cow corner? And in their frustration, as they're leaving the field, they hit the boundary cushions. A lot of them like to hit their pad. That's a very common reaction. So, Abdullah, are we citing players for those reactions?
Yeah.
Or are we just having a not so friendly word with them after the game?
Yeah, in those instances, Tom, I'll have a friendly word. Hitting your pad, hitting the boundary. Also, it depends on the severity of the abuse. So, if you know, if looking at it, and let's say hitting an advertising board
Mm,
middle with a hole in the middle.
Yeah,
That is, even if it's out of frustration,
yeah,
definitely I'm coding. But
correct.
yeah, but if it's just hitting the pillow, hitting the pad, I'll have a word, but I won't necessarily code every single thing. You need to look at the
Mm,
situation, need to look at the severity of it, and then discuss it amongst the umpires. Look at the footage, and
mm.
then and make a decision over time.
Thanks, Dula. Next question is from Ansh, and he wants to know why, when we call out a player for a level 2, a level 3, or a level 4 offense, we call time. And the law says call time if necessary. And what I mentioned while I was presenting is that um, if we are stopping the game completely and it's the end of the game because there's no the fielding captain doesn't want to remove the the level 3 offense player or the level 4 offense player, then that will be the end of the game. But if it's not the end of the game, if it's a level 2 offense, Abdullah, do you have any idea why we shall call time? Why don't we just call and signal dead ball to intervene with unfair play?
Yeah, Tom, it's for those level 1 and 2s where you won't call time, but I think it's for those level 3 and 4s
Mm,
where you need to summon the opposing captain and address it and speak to the captain. That's why you just momentarily calling time
mm,
just to address it, because it's now you can see it's a severe punishment.
yeah.
Obviously, the action is severe as well, so you need to deal with it. And I think that's the reason why calling time, the opposing captain needs to be yeah, informed, needs to be spoken to, and then you'll deal out whatever the punishment is, and then once that is done, play will then resume. I think that's the logic behind calling time.
Yeah, so I've read the law book again, and all 4 levels it says call time if necessary. So I'm not sure when it would be necessary to end the game or end the session, but I suppose it's like I mentioned while I was presenting, is it's to make a scene, Ansh, and to show everyone that you're actually pausing the game to deal with the issue at hand. That's how serious the issue is at hand. You're not necessarily going to go off the field of play, but you are stopping the game for um, a certain amount of time to deal with the offense. Okay. Ansh also asks, what does it mean? Sorry, he has. We have dealt with that question. If we continue play, yeah, then will we continue play till 12:10 due to 12 minutes lost? So do we change the intervals, Abdullah, because of the time that we have spent addressing a disciplinary issue on the field of play?
No, Tom, lunch will stay at 12 o'clock. Yeah, we'll address the issue. Yeah, that 5 minutes will just be seen as extenuating circumstances, but you will not be changing your lunchtime. You'll still have it at 12 o'clock overtime.
Thanks, Dula. Uh, Mohammed Tuki, I think he asked this question in a level 1 lecture, or somebody asked this question. If a fielder is suspended according to a level 3 offense, shall the time spent off the field count as penalty time that he or she needs to serve when they come back onto the field? Abdullah?
No, Tom, you still have to serve your penalty time. If you still owe, let's say, 60 minutes of penalty time, you'll serve your 10 overs. And
Hmm.
once you're back, you then need to serve your 60 minutes of penalty time. You cannot offset your penalty time while serving a level 3 suspension. Over.
Yeah, I think what Mohammed is asking is, if you're off the field because of a level 3 suspension, does that time off the field, is it added to your penalty time? So if that 10 overs is 45 minutes worth of playing time, when that player comes back onto the field, will they need to serve 45 minutes of penalty time before they can bowl?
Okay, no, Tom, you won't be added. You won't add the 10 over suspension to penalty time. So you'll serve his 10 overs suspension under the level 3, and then coming back, he then needs to serve whatever time he owes as penalty time. Over.
Thanks, Chula. Isanula wants to know the exact date for the exams for people from other countries. Isanula, whether you're in South Africa or you're in, I think, Afghanistan, Isanula, you will write either on Wednesday, the 24th of September, or Monday, the 29th of September. 2 p.m. South African time on Wednesday, 6 p.m. South African time on Monday, the 29th. You'll just have to calculate what time that is in your home country. Basil wants to know, is there a rewrite? Basil, your rewrite, hopefully you won't need one, but if you do not pass, you will write with level 2 again when we do level 2 next year. We have only those 2 dates that we can avail for exam dates, and the season, as mentioned, is starting for Abdullah and I here in South Africa next week, Thursday, the 25th of September, and the fixtures are quite full, and we will be doing a lot of traveling, so we will not be able to schedule rewrites for level 2. So make sure you don't need a rewrite, Basil. You've got at least 10 days now. Between now and next week, Wednesday, is 9 days. Make sure that you study hard enough, and make sure you join us for the revision lecture on Thursday, and that will help you to pass your exam. William asks, to stop deliberate no balls in test matches or 4-day matches, why not make them a free hit? William, that is a question for the Playing Conditions Committee of the International Cricket Council to answer. They come up with the different playing conditions for the different formats. I guess if I were to answer, if I was sitting on that committee, test match cricket and 4-day cricket, we want to keep it as sort of traditional as possible, as close to the laws of cricket as possible. I think adding free hits to test match cricket would create a little bit of a circus around it. England is already playing baseball, which is different to what us traditionalists are used to. It has definitely added an extra element to the game that's bringing fans to watch test match cricket. But I don't think the value of a free hit is going to add much to test match cricket. Who knows? Give it a few years, you might see power plays in test match cricket. You might see free hits in test match cricket. This is why we love the game. It's always evolving, and also I think this is the beauty of having 3 different formats, is each one has its own special nuances that make it special. Right, so we have our 2 hands in the meeting room, all the way from Bangladesh. Rifat, please unmute your microphone. The floor is yours. Hello, Rifat.
Hello, Tom.
Yes,
Thank
go
you.
ahead.
Can you hear me clearly? Hello.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, I'm in travel in internet speed last few days. That's why I was not hearing properly to you. I have a question, and in scenario first one I don't see clearly whether the ball is touched the Shadakhan bat or not. That's why I'm confused. That's why I am give it out. But if the ball, if the scenario one, if the Sadakhan left the ball and the ball when after the left the ball, if the ball hit the stump, then it will be out or not out directly overhit the ball gone past the waist high.
Are you talking about the wicket keeper, Rifat?
No. If bowler bowled the ball, if Shadab Khan left the ball, didn't attempt to play the shot, and after that, if the ball passes the batsman and hit the wicket without touching bat, if the and touching the wicket, it is out or not out?
Oh, are you
It may
talking about Lungi Gidi's full toss?
yes.
Okay. So Abdullah, Rifat is asking if the ball did not hit Shadab Khan, or if Shadab Khan did not hit the ball and it was a full toss that went straight on to hit the stumps, would that be out or would that be a no ball?
So, Rifat, we need to judge when we judge our full tosses that's above waist height. We need to judge it better standing upright at the popping crease. So the question you need to ask yourself when judging high full tosses is better standing upright at the popping crease. Was the ball above waist height? If your answer to that question is yes, like in this, we can just freeze it there, Tom. Batter standing upright at the popping crease. Yes, the ball is above waist height. You should call and signal no ball. That is the only question that you ask yourself. It's irrelevant whether the ball goes on to hit the stumps or don't hit the stumps. You should not be looking at it. The only question, Rifat, that you ask yourself is, batter standing upright at the popping crease, was the ball above waist height? If yes, you need to call and signal no ball. If no, then it's a fair delivery. In this case, the answer to the question is yes. Sadap standing upright at the popping crease, the ball was above waist height. And that's why this is a no ball.
Abdullah,
So,
even if he had missed the ball and it was a looping delivery that dipped and hit the stumps, where do we judge the delivery?
exactly the same place, Tom. You ask yourself and you judge it. Standing upright at the popping crease, was the ball above waist or not? If yes, standing upright at the popping crease, no ball. If the answer to your question is the ball is not above waist height, standing upright at the popping crease, it's then a fair delivery. Over, Tom.
Thanks, Abdullah. Rifat, happy?
Yes, I have another question in here 40 law 41. If a bowler bowled waist high no ball 3 times in an innings, then the bowler will suspend the match. Is it 3 in a row or 3 different time in an innings? Because
Okay.
I saw Babur Zulfikar Babur of Pakistan. He was suspended a match for bowling waist high no ball 3 in a row in his first over, or maybe T20 cricket.
Okay, Abdullah, does it have to be 3 in a row, or does it have to be 2 directed at the striker, or can it be 2 full tosses anywhere above waist height? how does the suspension work, please?
Okay, Rifat, the suspension work as follows. So same innings. The bowler bowls a ball and it is above waist height, directed at the batter like the Sadab Khan incident. If that was the first time in the innings, Lungi was definitely given a first and final warning. So no ball was called, and Lungi was given a first and final warning. So what you need to look at is if it's above waist height, you will always call and signal no ball. So now when it comes to whether you give the bowler a warning or not, that depends on whether it was likely to inflict physical injury on the batter, and how we interpret that is if it was directed at the batter and it's above waist height, we're going to call no ball and we're going to give a warning. So like in Lungi's case, let's say that was the first time Lungi did it. So no ball was called and Lungi was given a first and final warning for bowling a full toss above waist height, and it was directed at the batter. Let's say later in the innings, Lungi again bowled a full toss. But this time, if you can just visualize the Rifat, this time the ball was not directed at the batter. Let's say it was a meter wide of the batter. So if you can visualize Lungi bowling a full toss, but instead of now the ball going straight at the batter, it actually goes, let's say, a meter wide of the batter. So yes, the ball is still above waist height. So what must the strikers end umpire do? The strikers end umpire will call and signal no ball because the ball is above waist height, batter standing upright at the popping crease. But in my second scenario, because the ball was not directed at the batter, it was wide of the batter, you will not give a warning in this instance. You will only give a warning if it's above waist height and directed at the batter. So you only allowed one in the innings where it's your first and final above waist height directed at the batter. That's your first and final. If a second high full toss above waist height directed at the batter in that same innings, now your second time, that bowler will be removed from the attack. Doesn't have to be consecutive balls. It can be the first ball of the over. It can be the fifth ball of the over. It can be the next over, as long as it's in that same innings. So just to summarize, what you need to look at is if it's above waist height directed at the batter, you will go first and you will go no ball and a warning. And depending whether it's first, let's say it is first, you'll give first and final. If it happens again in that same innings, whether it's the same over, whether it's the next over, as long as it's in that innings, even if it's from the other side, doesn't matter. As long as it's in that same innings, if it happens a second time, you will call and signal no ball and remove the bowler from the attack. Over, Tom.
Thanks, Dula. Happy, Rifat?
Yes, I'm clear, and I have a
Great.
Tom, in level one, I have a problem to internet connection. That's why I have don't pass the first attempt. I pass the second attempt. I would pass the first attempt, but my internet was slow. Maybe disconnected. That's why I have answered the question last 13 minutes, because when I answered the question 100 and the exam was 130 minutes, I give the answer 52 or 56 answer within 1 hour, but after that I noticed that my internet connection is lost or something is problem. That's why I cannot give the exam properly first time. Then second attempt I face the same problem, but I manage it and pass the exam. And in level 2, it's a I have online exam. Can I write the exam on Word file first and then copy the text to the exam document? It will be okay. Now I have to answer the question on the exam online exam you have provided.
Rifat, you will see on Thursday, I will take you through a click-by-click demonstration of how the exam works. You type your answer into a chat box. It's not a chat box, but it's the answer sheet box. Each question has its own answer sheet box. You type it into that box, and then you click on next to move to the next question. You can go back to a previous question if you want to change the answer, but no writing allowed, no pen, no paper, no books, no laptop, no, if you're using your laptop for the exam, you cannot have your phone in the room. If you're using your phone to type in the answers, that's fine. You cannot navigate to any other program on the laptop or your phone. You stick to that website, and if you navigate off from that website, then you'll get a warning, a first and final warning. And if you navigate off that website again in the same innings, you are immediately removed from the attack, Rifat. Your exam will be terminated. So you will see all of those questions will be answered in terms of the logistics of how the exam works on Thursday. Okay, so don't panic about it now. There's enough time to make sure you've got the right internet connection and the right device, and you will even have a minimum systems requirement test on your device to make sure that you can use that device and that internet connection for that exam. Okay, we'll answer
Okay.
all of that on Thursday.
Okay. You have two attempts, and I have to attempt one. I have to attend one attempt. That's one in either is 24th or 29th, not two times.
Either or, not both. Okay, only one attempt, either on Wednesday the 24th of September or on Monday the 29th of September. We will not be marking those who write on the 24th. We won't mark your exam on the 25th and allow you a rewrite on the 29th. No, you only get one attempt to write the Cricket South Africa Level 2 exam in this sitting. It's you pick one of those two options. Okay.
Thank you. Okay.
You're welcome. Isanula, you have been patiently waiting with your hand up. Please unmute your microphone. The floor is yours.
Hi to everyone. Are you hearing me?
Yes, loud and clear. Go ahead.
Do you have any site or documents to send us for practice exam, which will be very effective for us before the real exam, to get used to the exam before the real exam?
So Isanula, we used to give candidates revision questions for level 2, but they were too close to the questions that are in the level 2 exam. So Cricket South Africa has instructed us not to give any revision questions to candidates before a level 2 exam. We cannot come up with any revision questions which are at the same level of difficulty as the exam, but are not close to the questions in the exam. So unfortunately, there will be no revision questions given. However, the revision lecture, the revision slides that Abdullah will be going through on Thursday will help you tremendously for your exam. And what we can tell you is that you will need to know your laws. but you don't need to write the law book verbatim. You don't need to reproduce word for word what the law book says. You just need to have a good understanding of the laws that are examined. And if you can write it in English, how you understand it, and it is as the law book explains it, then you will pass the exam. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Got it. Sir, I have one more question about the dates of exam. First, you
Sure.
told us that the date of exam are 24 and 29th of September. Then you told us that we have a match, so the date of 24 will be changed to 25th of September. So we are in two minds that which is the correct date, 25th and 29 or 24 and 29. But also I have a question that is the dates for all the candidates or just for the candidates in South Africa?
Okay, so I'll answer your first question, Isanula. The exam dates are Wednesday, the 24th of September, or Monday, the 29th of September. And those are the exam dates for all the candidates to choose from, whether you're in Cape Town or you are outside of South Africa. Those are the dates that you choose from. Okay. The 25th of September is the deadline day to pay for the exam. So whether you're writing on the 24th of September or you're writing on the 29th of September, you need to have paid your exam fee by the 25th of September. So that is why I mentioned the 25th of September. It has never been an exam date, and it is not an exam date. It is merely the deadline for which you need to pay your exam fee. The reason we make the deadline the 25th of September is that most people in South Africa who have full-time jobs, they get paid on the 25th of every month. So we were allowing the candidates who want to write on the 24th of September, but don't have the money to pay for the exam fee by the 24th, they can still write on the 24th and pay on the 25th. I hope that makes sense, Isanula.
Okay, sir. I got it. Thank you very much.
Good. Next, I did see that Ansh Shimpi from Tanzania had his hand up. Ansh, have we answered your question, or do you still have a question to ask?
No, thanks, Tom. You've answered my question. It was about the rewrite on 29th. If I wrote on 24th, would I be able to rewrite on 29th? But as you've said, we will not be able to do that. So I'll do my best on 24.
Make sure you pass first time, Ansh. That's the easiest way. Okay.
Yes, Tom.
Good man. I do not see any more questions or comments in the chat box. Isanula, you've still got your hand up. Do you have another question or comment for us?
No, no, sir. I got my answer. Thank you very much.
Okay, good. Rifat is asking, when do we need to confirm the exam date? Rifat, when you pay your exam fee, then you need to send your proof of payments to training@wpcua.co.za. And on that email, you need to inform us, are you writing on Wednesday, the 25th of September, or are you writing on Monday, the 29th of September? If you have already made payment, but you did not mention which day you will be writing, please just email training@wpcua.co.za to say that I have previously paid and my exam date will be Wednesday, 24 September, or it will be Monday, 29 September. Rifat, I hope that helps. I do not see any more questions or comments in the chat box. I do not see any more hands up in the meeting room. So I'll take this opportunity to thank you all for your attendance and your interaction. We will reconvene on Thursday, same time, same place, same Microsoft Teams meeting link. Thank you very much once again. We will see you all on Thursday. And up until then, have a great week further. Thank you and goodbye.